Good evening, everyone. I'm Teresa Kavanaugh, City Councillor for Bay Ward, and it's a pleasure to have you here this evening. And thank you very much for making the time. We have a presentation that has been based on the comments that have been submitted regarding the Frank Ryan Park Community Building. So first of all, I'll read a land acknowledgement. Ottawa is built on unceded Anishinaabe Algonquin territory. The peoples of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation have lived on this territory for millennia. Their culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. The City of Ottawa honors the peoples and land of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. The City of Ottawa honors all First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples and their valuable past and present contributions to this land. Thank you. So, I'm going to pass it over to our city park planner, Louise Severnay, and she's going to introduce the team that has been working on this project. That's on to you, Louise.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you very much for joining the meeting this evening. Based on the comments and recommendations that the community provided, as well as the stakeholder groups within the city, we have put together the final presentation and design of the new community building and the park changes in order to accommodate the new building for you this evening. I'd like to introduce the team. First of all, I'm Louise Chervany. I'm the Parks Planner and Project Manager from Parks and Facilities Planning for this project. I'll introduce you to Kevin, if you'd like to take it away, and then we'll go on with the consulting team as well. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Volker. I'm project manager with the City of Ottawa and the Design and Construction branch with Infrastructure Services. I'm responsible for the contract with the consulting team.
Gord?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gord Krieg. I'm the project manager at Pine Richards, Temprano and Young Architects. We're responsible for the architecture of the building and coordinating consultants and being in liaison with the city.
Thanks, Gord. Orhan?
Hi, I'm Orhan Armstrong. I work with Gord, and we're together working with the city to develop the building and eventually see its construction, hopefully.
Thank you. Ben?
I also work with Gordon Orhan and work on the drawings and design of the building.
Thank you. Jim?
Hi, I'm James Lennox, James B. Lennox and Associates Landscape Architects. We're the consulting landscape architects to PTRY.
Thank you. Wayne?
Hi, I'm Wayne Flapper. I work under Jim, JBLA Landscape Architects, and I'm a landscape architect.
Thank you. And David?
Yeah, I'm David at JP2G Consultants, civil engineer on the team.
Great. Thank you very much. I'll just get right into the presentation here. Sorry, I needed to do this. Not sure how to, there we go. So we'll start the presentation off. Oops. Right. Sorry, not sure why this isn't happening. Barb, I'm trying to share my screen and I'm not sure if I have control to do that.
You should. Hang on one sec. Just let me double check. Yeah, you should be able to do that. At the very bottom of your strip,
Hmm.
there should be a green button for share screen, no?
Yes, but it's not picking up the PowerPoint presentation.
If you expand it with the little arrow. Um,
Is it possible you could send it to Barb or, oh, you got it. All right, we're good.
Okay, great.
That was going to be my next suggestion.
Yeah, all good. And yes, I have lightning here too.
Okay. Trying to get the slideshow here. Well, we'll just have to do it this way, I suppose. Okay. So thank you very much again. We'll just get right into it. This is the final public presentation for the community, Frank Bryan Community Building. We've introduced you to the team, and I'll introduce the project again and the project objectives and the scope of work for people who weren't part of the original consultation back in January. Just to give you an idea of the neighborhood and where this park is located and its association with other green spaces. This is our park, and it is associated with a variety of green spaces and parks in this neighborhood. Elmhurst Park is mostly green wooded area that is diagonally adjacent to this park across the street, which makes it one of the largest urban forests in the city for a outer urban park. These are air photos that predate the construction of the project, construction of the existing park from 1956 until the park was constructed in 1958. Before the park's construction, it was farmland, and then slowly parts of the forest were cleared away to construct baseball diamonds, predominantly baseball diamonds, that are still there today. By 1965, there was a pool, and 1967 saw the construction of a community building, a field house, sorry, a small field house. The amenities that exist in the park today include the children's playground, sand play, swings, as well as a gazebo, benches, the picnic tables, raised planters, pathways, trees, and the recreation facilities include the wading pool, 2 baseball diamonds, a t-ball pitch, basketball court, the full boarded seasonal rink, and with a lit puddle rink, the tennis courts that are located in the corner along Alpine and Clarinda, and the community building or the field house. This is a lovely photo of the urban forest, which was taken from the Community Association webpage. So thank you for that. I wasn't sure who to credit because there wasn't a name associated photograph. These are photos of people enjoying the park. And then some background on the neighborhood. Many of the homes, the newer 1950s homes, were part of the Campo development, south and east of Clarinda. Prior to that, there was a farm located near the woodlot called the Arkle Farm. I'm not sure if the house is still there. I know it had a number of uses after it no longer belonged to the Arkle family. But we used this photograph as well as existing housing stock from the turn of the century into the 1950s and the newer homes to provide influence on the design of the new building. Here's some shots from around the neighborhood, different types of homes. The objectives of this project are to replace the aging field house and to update the park where it's impacted by the new larger field house or now community building footprint. Where it's possible, we have retained the park features. Where it isn't possible, we have moved them. The most impact is on the basketball court, which is where the new building is sited, and the extension of the playground, which is larger due to the CSL standards that require distances between some of the elements in the play structures, as well as the fall surfaces and drainage. We'd like to maintain the main entrance and gateway entrance feature, and that may require some alteration to the width to allow fire trucks and emergency vehicles to access the park. We are also designing the park and the building to meet the design requirements for today and for future needs. The building design will articulate the site advantages and resolve some of the site issues right now. There are some constraints, particularly with the playground, which is very much on the edge of the park and too close to the building. We will relocate some of the park amenities, as I said, increase the playground area, and add some new, increase the size of the new building. Any design, removal or construction that's not identified in the scope of work is excluded from the park project. And any other projects, including life cycle renewal and initiatives funded by the Community Partnership Grant Program, are also excluded from this project. The area that is going to be impacted is seen here on this drawing. And there will be a slight widening of the pathway as well. The playground will be impacted, the basketball court, the pool area, landscaping around the pool area, the removal of some existing trees, which forestry has given us permission to do as we increase the number of trees as part of this project. And the addition of new pathways and seating areas. Some of the site constraints include the area where the new building will be constructed, standard accessibility requirements for emergency and operations and maintenance vehicles, the geotechnical investigation, so proximity to the bedrock for the building and for any other excavation that is required. There is a new fire hydrant that will be brought into the park, added to the park as well. This is a requirement by fire because the existing hydrant is on Stuart Kettle and the distance is too far to accommodate the hoses in order to put out a fire if there was one in the park around the new building and the playground. So the design process is includes the researching the background and history of this area, which we've already done, created site analysis and existing conditions information and sketches, infrastructure, servicing, tree inventory, doing some preliminary concepts for the new building location, as well as the impacts of other amenities in the park, and showing the constraints and scope of work included in this project. We presented the first set of concepts with the building and park designs that we would be moving forward. They were posted on Engage Ottawa afterwards, and a 2-week comment period was provided by, for comments from the community. We took some of the comments, we took the comments that were provided and moved forward with the design, refining the building characters, the materials and finishes, and further develop the site plan to accommodate the relocation of some of the elements, like the basketball court, and adding the fire hydrant, increasing the size of the pathway to accommodate emergency vehicles, and increasing the landscape treatment around the building, as well as improving the design of the playground. We will be showing the results of all of that work this evening. And this is the second presentation. There will be posting online afterwards. It will take about a week for the presentation to be accessibly formatted and translated. And after that, the community will have a couple of weeks to just provide comments. After that, we'll look at the schedule to see how to move forward next with the design to tender drawing package. The project development schedule will be posted as well, and we've already been through the concept phase, first presentation, the design development, and we're here today with this presentation. Just moving forward, again, here are some photos of the playground renewal back in 1978, when the playground was first developed. The play structures were renewed in 1996. And that is what exists today in the playground. The community rink is a major feature in the winter for this community, and really well used and maintained by the community. I'll hand the presentation over to Jim Lennox, the landscape architect, and he can talk about the landscape architecture component of this project.
Wayne, you can go ahead with that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Oh,
so during, no problem. During the preliminary design phase, we made a few key discoveries, such as the area around the existing building is too congested currently. There's an opportunity to locate the building centrally and form strong relationships with the surrounding amenities like the rink, basketball court, the playground, and the pool. The forest setting should be protected, but also utilized for inspiration and for shade. Greater visibility and emergency access from the road is needed, and conflicts between amenities such as flying baseballs we will need to be mindful of. So these are a few preliminary sketches. The first one, locating the building centrally is ideal, but there was insufficient room for the basketball court and playground by the forest. So in sketch 2, we considered locating the building closer to the road in the open lawn, but that would disconnect it from the pool and put it in the line of fire for baseballs. And in the third sketch, the layout worked the best with strong connections between amenities and space to utilize each amenity to its fullest. So just a bit of context. This plan shows the overall park and the proposed building's connection to Stuart Kettle Street, the forest, and existing amenities such as the pool and baseball diamonds. The building is central and far from neighboring residences. Next slide. Here we can see a graphic overview of how the proposed features fit into the site. Entering the site from Stuart Kettles, the existing Frank Ryan sign will be renovated to fit a fire truck, and a fire hydrant will be located close to the existing T-ball diamond. The basketball court will be in a highly visible location and double as a turnaround point for emergency vehicles. The playground area will be expanded drastically, and there is space for a shaded picnic area as well. The building is oriented with essentially 4 fronts to serve the pool, rink, playground, and the basketball court. Next slide, please. So this landscape plan offers a view into what each area will look like. We took inspiration from the unique forest setting to develop our plan with organic shapes, materials, and colors. The design takes advantage of shade provided by the mature trees. We're hoping to utilize boulders uncovered during excavation as well to help blend the building to the natural landscape. Around the building, we designed an oval plaza which guides circulation around the building and defines the space. It accents the building as a focal point and creates a flow through the site. The front and rear plazas will be excellent seating and gathering areas. Additional features are a covered patio by the rink with a large skate changing bench and a retaining wall for shaded seating. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, we're using a complement of natural forms and materials. Stone dust is spectacular for permeability, drastically reducing hard surfaces needed. Site furniture such as bollards and benches are all being selected to fit this theme while maintaining durability. Overall, the landscape design we settled on uses the space well through natural organic forms, a variety of seating options, and thoughtful consideration of what makes this location unique.
Thank you very much, Wayne. We'll move on to the architectural part of the project, which is the community building. As you can see, this is how the existing building fits into the park. The plan that Wayne just talked about extends far into the footprint of the building. And the new building fits here. You can see where the building is on this old plan, which was the original, one of the original drawings for the new building, for the old building. It was built in 1961 and is approximately 2,000 square feet. The new building is almost twice that size. It includes a change room, meeting room, a washroom, storage for chemicals, and a storage area for the snow blowers, hoses, and shovels. The new community building programming will pursue a higher level of energy efficiency and sustainability that exceeds the provincial building code. It will be fully accessible, have 2 multi-purpose meeting rooms, including storage in each room. There will be 3 washrooms, a male, female, and universal washroom. There will be a kitchen that includes a stove, refrigerator, and dishwasher, with an accessible lowered counter and accessible sink. There will be a cloakroom at the main entrance to the building on the east side. change rooms with outdoor access, a change room, storage, and washroom with outdoor access. The washroom is located within the change room and accessed from the outside. The rink storage and snow blowers, a pool maintenance and staff storage room. There will be maintenance and operational area for the building. There'll be much brighter light, bird safe glass, and a passive solar aspect to the building because of the glazing. Views to the playground, the pool, and the park amenities, as well as accessible pathways around the building to connect the building to the street. This is a demonstration of the programming breakdown of each room, as well as the square meters of each room. This will all be posted online, so you'll have access to this presentation. Gord, would you like to continue, please?
Sure. What you see here are some of our preliminary conceptual designs that, in concert with the landscaping, we were working on together with them to locate the building and try to get a shape to the building and orientate the spaces. So these were part of the previous presentation, and we've worked since then, but the top left-hand diagram is basically where the building is, although that had the rink to the north of it. The next slide is again from the previous one, and it was just showing the main elements and their location and a general shape of the building, although it was just very rudimentary at that time. This showed the building with a preliminary layout. Just locating the orange are the multi-purpose rooms, and the blue is a central organizing area, gathering area. That was sort of like, that came out of the sketches that you saw earlier, and this is basically as far as we got at the last presentation, and this just prove the area calculations that we got all the spaces incorrectly, and started relating the spaces to the elements of the park, both the new landscaping elements and the existing pool and rinks and ball diamonds. So the image on the top left was the sketch that you saw in the landscape one. So that's where we placed the building sort of in the middle of elements. Those elements moved around the building, but the idea is that it was that building location seemed to be the one that worked the best for helping improve the playground, etc. So we took that and we realized that the views from the building in the top right hand corner, sort of almost like a circle, where it's a 360 view from the park to the building and from the building to the park. So you see the pool and forest area and the playgrounds, basketball to the north, and then the ball diamonds and rinks to the west, and the south is the remainder of the park. So we took that idea of the circle and this idea that you enter on the east side, but there is a very strong connection to the park on the west side. So to create an axis and a central space in the middle of the building. So that was sort of our organizing elements, was this movement through the building and a central organizational spine, and this idea that we try to get as many views from around the building as possible. Now we do have constraints with trees, and we got to get movement around the building. So we have trees to the north and trees to the south that forestry wanted us to retain. So we squashed the circle a bit and came up with an oval to make it fit more into the building, and then that element also translates into the landscape. Next slide. So then we took that on the top left-hand corner. This comes from the old plan, but just keeping to develop it. So we put the main rooms in the orange there with the views. So the one room you see the playgrounds, the basketball court, and the baseball diamond, and the other one is the pool, the south part of the park, and the baseball diamond. And then there's a strong connection between the rink and the building as well, because in the winter most people will be going into the rink change room. And so we took that on the top right hand corner and we filled in the building with all the service spaces. And then in the bottom right hand corner, you see that we wanted to give that central spine some volume. So we thought of it as a high space where we could bring light in from all levels. So that became our major circulation and axes to the building. And now we're trying to develop what the building looks like. So in the top left-hand corner is sort of the blobs of the building and with this spine. And then we did some massing studies. We took some of our photos that we had thought of a long time ago when we first started designing the building, and they were in the previous proposal maybe, but they're just some concepts that we like that maybe could inform the building. And then we did some massing studies. You see one on the top right hand corner there, but on the bottom left we played with roof lines and shapes and whether we needed more roof levels or not. We finally came up with the massing that you see on the bottom right hand corner, which is a high central spine that is the sort of organizing structure, and then the buildings around that. That allows us to get north light into that central space, and it allows the organization of the building. So on the next slide is our updated plan. It's very similar to the previous one, except we've improved it by just working on the spaces and making them flow. So you still get the blue area, that's your central spine and meeting place, organizational structure. The two multi-purpose rooms in orange in the corners with lots of windows. The rink change room is at the top left-hand corner, has access to the rinks, and then the other service spaces, washrooms and storage rooms, kitchen, etc., fill that in. So the plan didn't change a lot, but we've refined it and worked on it, and then it was getting the form of the building. So in the next slide, you'll see this is close to the other 3D image, but now what we've done is we've used materials and colors to accentuate the central spine, and then exterior materials to differentiate the real public spaces from what we call more of the service spaces. And this is the view from the approach. So as Wayne said, the oval is going to be a feature right on the ground. We've got, instead of just doing a bunch of steel bollards, we're using sort of stone bollards. They could double as seating areas. And that's in case an emergency truck or a maintenance truck comes around, it's not, we're protecting the building. The trees that you see on the right are the existing trees that are already there, which was created some of us. And then there's access back to the rinks on the right-hand side. So this is your main view. We haven't figured out the name, how to put the name of the building on the building yet, but that will be in this area. The next slide is from the other side, and we've taken out the trees on the right. That's actually heavily treed as well, so you can see the building. But again, the area on the right, that's the large multi-purpose room. And instead of keeping the roof flat over that room, this idea of joining the sloping roof on the high to that room creates a more dramatic look to the building, and it also brings some more height into that large multi-purpose room and creates a more dynamic room. But the spine is still visible through from this elevation by the glass that's in the center. And then the rink change room is on the right. And then we have the pergola. It's a covered area, but it's not rainproof. It's sort of like more of a trellis, and that is hopefully constructed from reclaimed wood from the existing wood beams in the existing building. So we're trying to bring some of that back into the structure, and you can see the oval slightly there still coming through the site, and that continues as a walkway to the pool area. This is the view from the pool. Again, you see the different materials to distinguish the multi-purpose room from the kitchen, the pool storage room, and the maintenance area. Again, there's a close connection between the kitchen serving area and the pool, and just around the corner is where the washroom in the ring change room would be accessible in the summer. And then Wayne's retaining wall benches along there, which helps us with the hill that exists there and gives us more amenity area. So this is sort of the east elevation from the playgrounds. You can see that, again, this is similar to the front view, but it gives you a more flat on view of the building. And you can see the park around. So it's really 360 around the building that you'll see the building from different aspects. And the last one are some interior views. So that on the left, that's the main corridor link. Lots of windows, bringing in natural light from above on the north side. And then some accent walls with some wood that, again, we're hoping is going to be reclaimed from the roof planks of the existing building. We think we can do the ones in the main corridor that way. The multi-purpose room, you can see the roof there has the slope on it, so you get some, or the ceiling gets some height into that room. Again, we have some wood accents, very little color accents, but just enough. And then we're trying to use lighting to accentuate the different shapes so that it's going to be LED bright light, but we're trying to keep it minimalistic so that the space accents the shape of the space. And then the last one is proposed materials. They're not necessarily finalized, but the idea is to bring, so the sort of masonry, gray masonry you see on the exterior, we're proposing a masonry concrete brick that has recycled glass fragments in it as part of the matrix, some composite siding, more durable and no maintenance compared to wood, but it gives that similar look, and it's 100% recycled material. And then hard ceramic finishes for the floor in most of the public areas, and painted walls, and rubber flooring in the multi-purpose rooms, which is for cushioning, and so it has a lot of different uses. It'll be well wearing and multi-use. And then the wood inside, just to bring some of that color from outside inside to match it. So those are our initial color thoughts.
Great, thank you very much, Gord. We're going to open the floor to questions now about the presentation. Barb or Mary, if you'd like to field the questions, that would be great.
Sure. Looks like we have one here from Simon. His question is, why not simply 3 closed washrooms that can be used by anyone?
I can answer that one.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so the men's and women's washrooms have 2 fixtures each, and then the universal is a locked door washroom. So that's, and then we have the other washroom, which is accessed from outside, but that one really doesn't count when you're doing code review, because having people go outside to go to the washroom is not convenient. So that's, we would have to have more washrooms if they were all individual use. I think that was the question that you were asking.
Okay, related, Kathy's asked about access from the waiting pool to the washrooms. Will that be possible?
So there is an exterior washroom. The users of the waiting pool can either go through the front door, or through the back door or west door into the washroom, or the access to the change room will be open during the summer. So there is a washroom in the change room as well.
Okay, we have another question here about outdoor fitness equipment and where that could possibly be located. I think Louise, we've discussed this. So.
Yeah, that is not part of this project, as was indicated at the beginning. It's not identified in the scope of work, which was written in 2022. And so we won't be discussing that this evening. It's another project entirely and not part of this project.
Okay, we have another question about the space in the main room. How many people can it accommodate in seats or around tables? Do you have an estimate about that?
So the space is designed for an occupant load of, I think it's a maximum 99 people, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just checking it up here on my, yeah, multi-purpose room would have a maximum occupancy of 100. The secondary room would be 50, and that has to do with number of washrooms, number of doors, so it's a limited number of people. You could do special occasions and have, get special permission to increase that. I know that's been done, but that's what it's designed for.
Okay, we have a question. What's going to happen to the mural on the existing field house?
We've kind of tossed that idea around, ideas around about that that mural. It is lovely, but there's no way that we can save it. The cost is prohibitive. It would mean actually saving the wall. We can't incorporate it into the building. It's just not possible. However, there were some ideas of taking a large photograph of it and using that somewhere in the park. But unfortunately we can't save it.
Okay. Next question is, what is the proposed timing of the project?
So the next stages of the project development is to begin the tender drawings, do the 99% up to 99%. And we are waiting for funding, the balance of the funding for this building. We are actively seeking grant programs, and we have to wait for the funding. So right now I can't really tell you. We'll have a clearer idea in the new year.
How many picnic tables will be in the picnic area? Will trees be planted in the picnic area, or will there be no shade?
Wayne, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer that. So we're currently proposing 5 picnic tables in that area, 2 of which are fully accessible. And we're definitely providing shade. We've got 4 trees proposed.
Thank you.
And a lot of that area is shaded by the mature forest next to it anyways, but we're planning for the future and adding to that canopy.
Okay. Where is the bicycle parking located? And will you consider spacing that allows for trailers or larger bicycles?
Sorry, Wayne, I'm trying to point to it. Is that where it is?
Oh, sorry. Yes, so that's where we're proposing the bicycle parking, right next to the front entrance.
But there's nothing stopping other places in the park from having more if we decide to, correct? But that's not part of the building program maybe now. So it's a big park, you could put more.
Mhm.
The next question is about lighting. Will there be any consideration for lighting along the pathway between Stuart Kettles and the new field house?
We won't be lighting the park. It's not, doesn't follow park policy. The building will have exterior lighting, and some lights are left on in the evening for security. So, but there won't be any lighting in the park. The temporary lighting that's installed during the winter time for the rinks will be there. I believe that's on a timer, and it will be as well once the new building is completed. But there will be no new lighting in the park.
Okay, we have a bit of a follow-up for the outdoor fitness equipment. So they're saying, I understand it's not part of the scope, just asking for confirmation that there would be space in the plan or at the park for the equipment.
There isn't in the upper level of the park, so I can just show you. We've got the T-ball here, the new basketball court location, the community gardens, playground, pool, rinks in the wintertime, baseball and baseball. There isn't any room for the fitness equipment on this upper level of the park. There may be room. It looks like there's probably room by the tennis courts that are at the other corner over here of Clarinda and Alpine. But there isn't any room up here.
Okay, is there a location for the raised garden beds which are currently north of the field house?
These raised, they're here. They won't be part of the project. They'll remain where they are. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, and was it considered or is it feasible to have solar panels on the roof of the new field house to help increase the sustainability of the new facility?
Gord, would you like to answer that?
So it's a partly mechanical question. Architecturally, the roof is perfectly designed for solar panels. However, that's not part of the plan at the moment. We'd have to check into whether mechanically it makes sense for the limited use. I don't know if the city has any comments on that, because we're designing the insulation and the other aspects of the building to be 25% greater than the new requirements of the building code. So it's going to be a very efficient building to heat and stuff. So I don't know if that was part of any preliminary thing. They were considered, but they weren't. They aren't in the project at this time. We could get an opinion on that if necessary. But
Okay, a couple more questions related to art. First, Kathy just made a comment here that says the community has talked about a photo of the mural being used in the building somehow. So perhaps something for consideration. And then along the same lines, could you consider an art wall on the building that could be open to artists? I'm not sure, Simon, if you mean on the inside or the outside?
Yeah.
Sorry, he says the outside of the building, yes.
Probably not on the building, but there is a public art component to this project because the building is over $2 million, or the project is over $2 million. However, that doesn't amount to a lot of money, about $20,000. And public art typically will take that funding and put it in a pot to for a larger piece of art somewhere in the broader community. So unless there is additional funding added to that funding envelope for public art, there isn't a lot that can be done with $20,000. So unless we haven't gotten to that point yet where the idea of preserving the mural, whether it's a photograph on another wall but that might be a conversation that the $20,000 could cover, might be a conversation with public art to help achieve that preservation, or somehow the memory of that existing wall becomes a new aspect of the park. I'll have a conversation with public art and find out if the amount that's allocated from the budget might cover that. But thank you. We had talked about that wall a number of times and unfortunately couldn't save it, but it might be another way of keeping it in the park in the new form.
Okay, great. Technical question, will the multi-purpose room have electrical outlets?
Absolutely.
Okay. Another question is, will there be consideration for a water fountain like at Britannia near washroom entrances? Sorry, I don't know. Brian, do you mean on the outside of the building or in the inside, or both? Outside.
There might be a water station that can be removed. We haven't thought of it, but the change room is there, so there is water available in the washroom. And it would be open during the hours. It's just that they get damaged very easily. They're easily vandalized if they are on the exterior of the building.
Yes, that happens. We've seen that at Bayshore.
Yes.
We had a bottle filling station, and unfortunately it got really badly vandalized. But it's a great idea for, considering the sports, the baseball, etc. But that, maybe they'll make them tougher in the future.
When the building is named, will it be given a civic address so Frank Ryan Park is no longer an address on Alpine for the tennis courts? It would make sense to clearly delineate the two areas. Example, the hockey rink is located on Alpine Avenue, according to the city. Not sure if you have any insight into that yet.
Whatever the address is now is probably the address we will be using. It's associated with the fire and emergency services. The naming of the building would probably retain the name of Frank Ryan Park, unless the community wanted to change it.
The picture on slide 26 does not show the swing set. Will the swing set be removed?
No. Wayne, do you want to talk about this, or would you like me to?
I can talk about it.
Okay.
So the existing swing set, of course, has to be removed. It's not in the best condition and it's too close to the building that's being demolished. But the play equipment area that we're proposing is quite a bit larger than the existing. So there will be room for swings and more play equipment, but that's not involved in the project currently. So, Louise, would you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so there are two parts to the playground. Life cycle replacement was scheduled for this park prior to us initiating the new building project. And the funding is there for the junior play structure. However, and the funding comes from the ISIP grant program that the federal and provincial governments established back in the early stages of COVID. The amount of money to install a junior play ground, if we were to install it before the park project and building project took place. It's not a simple replacement of the junior play structure. It means making it accessible, which means removing the sand, adding drainage because it doesn't exist in order to accommodate the new fall surface so it doesn't rot and there's accumulation of water and then it would rot. Creating a separation between the senior play area and the junior play. But even that would be a challenge because, see if you can see it here. There isn't a lot of room between the junior and senior play now. The junior play structure, the existing play structures don't meet current standards, which change often. So, yeah, there we go. So while they're safe, they don't meet the current standards. And this is the area where the junior play structure is. And on the other side of it is so the junior play would be here and the swings are here. The swings don't meet code. As a matter of fact, you can, if you're tall enough, you could probably hit the building if you're swinging. So there's too much of the hard costs that would use up the budget before we even install a playground. And we wouldn't have enough room to install a rink, a swing bay, because there isn't enough room in the existing play area. So the ISIP funding must be spent before 2027. The city did apply for extensions on some of these projects simply because of the backload of projects. Some of them delayed because of COVID, but just there is an awful lot of work. So we have 2027 in order to spend the money from the ISIP funding on the junior play structure. And it's in the best interest of the project that we use that money when we're building the whole project. Hope that answers your question.
Lucas is wondering if the new field house will have its own septic system to accumulate waste from toilet use, sink use, or will the new building be connected to the sewer line, the existing sewer line?
Dave, would you like to field that question?
Yeah, sure. It is going to be connected to the existing sewer line. No septic.
Who will be responsible for opening and closing the building for access to change room, washrooms, etc.?
So because this is a community building, and I understand that the community is responsible now for the existing field house, a new agreement would be in place with the community association to have the keys for the building and maintain the building, unless there are partners in it as well. Then it falls to the community association or whoever is signing the agreement with the city. If it's the rink program, then the people running the rink program would also be responsible for closing up the building as they are now. So
There's examples around the city of communities that run the local community building. Mackey House is one, for example. In other cases, Dovercourt runs it for McKellar Park. I think they would prefer if they ran it themselves, to be honest. But there's usually a staff person who oversees bookings still. So that is centralized generally.
Okay, we have a few comments and questions here, just asking for some more clarification. So if you can clarify, are the swings that the swings are part of the new playground, funded or not? Will there be no new junior structure until the new building is created?
yes, and yes. There will be swings in the playground, and the junior play will be part of the new construction. So right now things will stay exactly as they are until we move forward with the construction of the new project.
Okay, I think that helps clarify some of these questions. There is one question here that says, will any play structure elements be lost until the life cycle replacement?
We won't be touching the playground at all until the project moves forward. And with the new park, there'll be new playground, there'll be additional elements. So it's a much larger playground, so there's room to add new things.
I think the question was, is the playground going to be empty? That definitely won't be the case. You'll have a full playground once the project is fully complete.
So the old playground will not be removed until construction started, and so it's going to be there for a bit.
Yeah, we won't touch it until this new project moves forward.
There's a question here about the path. So I think some of the paths in the forest don't appear mapped into the design on the screen. In future images, can they be included or considered as part of the landscaping to ensure the connections are kept or reinstated similarly?
So they are shown not on this plan, but on one of the earlier ones. That those pathways are a key consideration I've made through this whole process. So they're coming out. One of them is coming out as it was, which is the one further to the north. That one. The one that you were just at, a little bit south, that one comes out to an asphalt pathway. And then the one lower comes out to the picnic area.
I think I'm all caught up here with questions, and unless anyone has any more, or unless I missed something, then let me know.
I think the only one you missed was the timeline.
Oh, yes. Could you reiterate the timeline, Louise, please?
Yes, we'll know more in the new year. Right now there's partial funding for the building, but not enough. We need the full funding envelope in order to move forward. And so in the new year, we'll be looking at other alternatives and options for funding the building.
Believe me, we're looking at everything. So, well, that's great. I think the questions have wrapped up. I'll just double check. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, if you still have questions, you can still send them. Go ahead and send them to our office, and we'll field them to Louise, and she can shoot them off to whoever it applies to. As you can see, it's beautiful. It's exciting. And Louise, you've done a fantastic job. You should know Louise has done a number of projects around the city. If you want to see some of her work, you can go to La Roche Park and see that one, which has the same kind of look. I would say it's very similar to what you're seeing in this drawing here. And that was very recently done. And I heard from her, during that process. And so that's an example. It is what we're going to across the city. It is expensive, so it's slow to get the funding. I'll be honest with you, but it's worth it. The field houses have lost their value now. They're dated and they need to be replaced. I'm also doing one at Woodruff Park. That's no surprise there. Also a nice building. It's very, very similar. It's great for meeting space and other activities. So this is a hub, and we want to get it done. We appreciate all the hard work of this team, and we appreciate your input. Some great input. If you, like I said, if you have any further questions, please send them along. I don't have dates. Wish I did, of when it would be finished. But it's going to be something that we're going to keep pushing at. That's for sure. This will be available in our newsletter so that others who've missed it can watch this recording, and they can see the slides on their own. But thank you everyone for coming out on this dreary night. It's almost spooky with all the lightning and thunder out there. Thank you to the whole team for all their hard work. You've obviously done great research and really got the essence of the community. So appreciated. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor.
All right.
And thank you very much, team. All these projects are a team effort. Our excellent consultants, my excellent partners in team efforts. So thank you to my team for all your hard work. You've done a great job. And thank you, community, for tuning in.
Okay. We'll keep you posted. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.